Namaste. Welcome to Beauty, Body and Being with me, Kirti Chakoti. Farming is so dependent on the season and the rains. Because of the climate change, we see there is a lot of imbalance in the weather very frequently and untimely rains. This gives a lot of damage to the farmers who depend on the season. Organic farmer, when he cultivates in 2 acres, 5 acres or 10 or 50 acres, whatever crop we cultivate, we get very few customers who actually appreciate it. But most of the production is gone in waste because we have to be selling them in bulk. The tons of production has to be sold in bulk apart from just selling it to the customer directly. Now, when it comes to selling in bulk, what happens is we face a challenge every time with the local market. Local market, if rice is sold for 40 rupees, even the organic cultivated rice is compared with 40 rupees and they try to bargain with us. So we are forced to sell in a very low cost because there is no other way we could sustain the yield which we have taken months to produce, because they have very short life. And when there is so much of nutrients in the grain, there'll be a lot of pest attack, rats, and keeping them in all the rest of the seasons would be tougher because of the go down availability. So what happens is we face challenge, so we want to just sell it off, and that keeps us going to sell it for a low cost. That is where exactly the organic farmer comes into losses. In this case, not only just organic farmer, but when it comes to the other conventional farmers, they also do make losses because the market decides the price and not the farmer. When we book our slot, we have to make sure we stand there so that it is milled properly with the bran in the grain. And whoever are going for polished grain, it is free for them. The reason being the bran is taken by the millers. Now, why are we even introduced to polished grain is because this is a big mafia where they have trained us and kept us with in a loop that polished rice or polished grains are better. One reason is because the shelf life is longer, because there's no bran, then there's no insects. And the other thing is most of the nutrients are gone, which is taken by the millers, and they supply to some other in bulk, so for medicinal properties and so on. So what happens is we are actually eating no nutrition in any grain if they are polished. So always make sure you choose something which is semi-polished or no polished at all. And when we pack these semi-polished or no polished grains, the pest in them comes very fast after packaging. Almost every month we have to keep checking. There is another option of nitrogen flush, or there is one in vacuum packing. But overall, after certain period, the vacuum packs have punctures and the air gets in. When it comes to nitrogen flush, it does stay for a longer period. But how many would even go for this? Like, there are small farmers who can't afford to get into this kind of packaging. So they are forced to sell in bulk in a very low price, in spite of being the most nutritional grain they have grown organically. Because as it is, when we cultivate, the price goes high. Then when we mill, again we have to pay and get it milled, so there the price goes high. But at last he gives up when he's selling, because when we have tons of grains, what happens is shelf life is short and you need to finish it quite fast because of the bran in it. So what happens, we consume to the closer customers as much as possible, but then on a larger scale we again go back selling it in bulk for a very low price, almost like the conventional chemical farming output. With that low cost, we have to be selling it. Now, when we started this brand to save our grain, what happened was we started labeling as chekorganics and educated customers about the grains about the vegetables we cultivated, and then taught them the value of the money they give. And definitely organic is expensive in many ways, as you heard it in the previous episodes, but once the customer understands the reason why they're expensive, they totally respect. Globally, we have seen so many variety of business where they have their own price tags and nobody is even given a chance to bargain. But that happens only with a farmer, because he's always seen as a low cadre, and it takes us a very dedicated time to get that single meal for you all. So please, my request personally, don't bargain from the farmer. Just give them the price they deserve. I know a lot of friends who are NRIs, who are well established in India, and as a hobby they wanted to get into organic farming. Like us, they also purchased lands, rented lands, and then cultivated organically lot of varieties. But then they all come up and discuss the same point as to it's not fetching them any money, or it is not sustainable. Why? Yeah, the reason is all what I spoke so far. So ultimately, a farmer who is going to feed the society is getting discouraged because he's not justified with his price. And that's why here most of the farmers are selling off their lands to the builders, and you can see the colonies are building up, the city is growing, and where are the farmers? One more fact, that the farmers who are right now in India cultivating, they are all above 40, and their children are already in the cities, educated, or they have gone abroad. Now, where are the next farmer generation? Only passionate ones get there, like us. But how far can we sustain in agriculture with these kind of practices and no support from the government for organic farming yet? When you eat a seedless fruit or a vegetable, remember, you become seedless. That means we develop infertility, because naturally seed is meant for the next production of a tree or a plant. But when you modify the vegetable or a fruit to make it seedless, you should understand you also become seedless. I hope this brought some insight of the real life of an organic farmer. Thanks for listening. Namaste.